Hello gang, Falcon here. Welcome to Breakdown, a Smite Guide show. Today we're going to be covering Aphrodite's conquest portion of the guide. This is going to be covering not only the solo lane, but also if you're crazy and choose to go into the support role, the items that you should be building for that. Everything that I say is my opinion and that of research that I've done from Tier Monster and other such sites. So if you're going to tell me that, well, the pros say that this is a bad item, or whatever, I'm going to ignore you. Give me feedback, give me reasons, give me all that good stuff. Comment down below. Let's talk about things. Don't be an asshole and think that your opinion or someone else's opinion is going to be the only thing that people listen to. Feedback, not assholeness. So that said, let's go ahead and talk about the start. The first thing you're going to want to figure out is who are you playing against? That's going to determine a lot of the other questions you need to ask yourself. And it's going to take you time to figure out exactly who you're going to play against and how perfectly, or not perfectly, but whatever, to beat them. Sometimes you're going to get mixed up and weird things are going to happen. People are going to play Neath in the solo lane and it's going to ruin your day. But for the most part, you'll be able to figure this out. So really, the first thing that, after thinking of that you need to figure out is, do I want to pick up Hand of the Gods? Hand of the Gods is an item that builds later into Wrath or Fist of the Gods, and this gives you the ability to get to lane quicker and to be able to clear your own buff camp and stuff like that. So it's a very useful item, and both Fist and Hand have very good purposes in the late game, but generally speaking, there are just better actives that you could purchase on Aphrodite. But this is the safe route. If you pick this route, you'll have an extra 300 gold to get wards and pots with. That with Vampiric Shroud, which is the default. You should always buy Vampiric Shroud. There's no reason to talk about anything else because Soulstone sucks. Alrighty, so you've bought Vampiric Shroud, you've bought Hand, or you didn't buy Hand. That's your choice. Moving on though, the next part of this is, do you want to build a snowman? Wait, no. Do you want to build Lost Artifact into Doom Orb? Doom Orb is a high-risk, high-reward item, gives you lots of power, mana, and some MP5, but if you die, you lose half the stack, so it's not always worth it. Aphrodite is a safe character, though. She is able to clear efficiently, and she's able to not die as much as long as you're playing properly and buying wards. So it's not necessarily a no-picker. It's a good item. It gives you a lot of power, which means even more healing. So it's kind of a choice. Do you want to be safe or do you want to be a little unsafe? If you prefer to be a bit more safe and you didn't want to go with Fist, there are still build Lost Artifact and build it into Chronos Pendant or Rada Tahuti, which you're going to want to do eventually anyway. But I don't really like this item to start off with because I feel like the MP5 in the solo lane just isn't quite as good. The two other options that I see as being decent are Tiny Trinket, which can be built into Bancroft's Pythagorean's Peace, and Divine Ruin, excuse me. So these are all three really good optional items that you can get. That said, you could also, and my personal favorite, is the Uncommon Sash, which builds into Warlock Sash, which I think is a amazing item to get on Aphrodite. It gives her a lot of health, means she's really hard to kill, and the extra mana and the power that you get from it are just flat out great. So we're going to select that. And with that, you're not going to be able to pick up any extra pots or whatever, but you have a heal, and you're going to have the mana regen from your blue buff unless it gets stolen, and then you're in trouble. But let's just pretend that horrible thing never happens. Alrighty, so let's talk about your core items. I personally think that these are my favorites. Looking at other people built, they seem to be fairly accurate with what other people think. So we have Warlock Sash, Shoes of Focus, Rada Tahuti, and Spear of Magus, or Magus, however you prefer to say it. Warlock Sash, again, is just the big stacking item that's really nice and tanky. Shoes of Focus is because you want the additional cooldown, and the power and mana aren't really as good for Aphrodite, in my opinion. Rada Tahuti is just a super magical power item that helps counteract Pestilence a little bit by giving you even more healing. Just slightly, though. Spear of the Magus is an obvious choice over Obsidian Shard because it is just. Aphrodite is a damage over time character that uses her lovebirds to clear and all that, and just the flat pin is amazing on her. So that covers the core items. The next portion of this is the damage items. There are two honorable mentions to go with these, but let's cover these real quick. First, we have Soul Reaver. This is great from the perspective of your team's ahead, and you want even more damage against the, the bigger warriors and all that. From behind the item isn't necessarily as good. It's very expensive. It does give you a lot of power and mana though, but overall it's not exactly the best in some situations. You got to kind of figure out exactly when those situations are, though. Two more we already talked about. Bancroft's Talon, great magic power. Aphrodite has the ability to use the passive extremely well with her ultimate, being able to get low, use her ultimate, throw birds out, stun someone. She's able to get a ton of healing from that passive, which is really good. Bancroft's Talon is a solid pick. Next is Chronos Pendant, because cooldown is king, and it has a lot of power. It is a decent pick. The two honorable mentions, though, are Divine Ruin, which allows you to be able to counteract other healers really well, especially with certain warriors like Hercules, Tyr, Vamana, just all those characters. She's able to better counter them. And then the other honorable mention is Pythagorean's Peace. This is built specifically with another set that we'll talk about in a second, but this item gives you a good amount of power, gives you some lifesteal cooldown, and more power and lifesteal to your allies and yourself. It's a very good pickup in my opinion if you're building a bruisery type character. So moving on, let's talk about the defensive items. We have Breastplate of Valor. This is a complete substitution to Chronos Pendant. You should never build both of them because it's way too much cooldown. But it gives you a lot of physical protection, a lot of mana, and then cooldown. Then we have Spirit Robes, which is what I suggest building with Pythagorean's Peace to get your 25% cooldown. Spirit Robes is just an overall good item. It gives you the ability to get stunned and take less damage from it. It can only occur every 10 seconds, or other crowd control as well. Note. And it just gives you 40 power and the cooldown. So it's a very good pickup. You might also, though, substitute getting Shoes of the Magi for the additional power, then grabbing Spirit Robe for the 15%, then getting Chrono Pendant or Breastplate of Valor. The next pickup is Lotus Crown. This is not as good on Aphrodite as it is other healers, but it's still a decent item and gives you the ability to really tank a lot of damage if you need to. Then we have Voidstone, which works similar to Pythagorean's Peace as it buffs your allies, makes everyone just do a little bit more damage, and it has a decent amount of magical protections to help you fight off other magical gods. Another item that you can pick up is Rod of Syphilis. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm terrible with names. It gives you magical power, gives you 200 health, gives you movement speed, and gives you extra healing that helps counteract pestilence. This item is, to me, a defensive item because it just, everything it gives you is to help keep you alive over just doing more damage. I mean, 75 damage is good, but, or power, excuse me, is good, but it's just not the same, you know what I mean? Then we have actives. We have Heavenly Agility, we have Greater Purification, we have Rage of the Gods, and we have Improved Aegis. Heavenly Agility is a must. This helps counteract other actives, well, mainly one active, which is Weakening Curse and Pestilence, of course, and any other type of thing. Plus it allows you to give your allies movement speed, it makes them immune to slows. It's just a really good item. You can't go wrong. You should always buy this. And if you didn't go hand, then beads or Aegis of whichever choice you want is up to you. Just all around really good picks. Now, if we're going to talk about Aphrodite in the support role, you're going to want to pick up Watcher's Gift instead of Vampiric Shroud. And you're going to want to go with Hog. I'm not going to click it, but Hog. And then some Pot, some Ward if you want. That's going to be the start you're going to go. Instead of going those shoes, you're probably going to want to go into Shoes of the Traveler Shoes. Maybe. It's up to you. Shoes of the Magi is still a good, or Shoes of Focus is still a good pickup in my opinion. And then you're going to want to go with the tankier build. You're not going to want to sacrifice too much power, but instead of picking up Spear, you're probably going to pick up Voidstone. Instead of picking up Chronos Pendant, you're going to probably pick up Breastplate of Valor. If you don't go for Shoes of Focus and you still want the cooldown, Spirit Robe is a good pickup as well. So you're going to want to build to support your team. You're going to want max cooldown. You're going to want to be throwing out stuns as often as possible and all that. So you're going to want to still have lots of power so that you can do lots of healing, but it kind of takes a little bit of a backseat compared to trying to get power for kills. And that's going to do it for this part of the guide, peoples. Next will be the arena portion of this. Hopefully I can refine it even more. I thank you guys for watching. I encourage you to click the links up above and the ones down below. You might have to type those out, but you know, come ask me some questions on ask.fm. Come follow me on Twitter to see my craziness. Go check out my website and all the crazy cool stuff I've done. And just all that stuff, guys. I thank you for watching. I hope this helped you. If it does, comment down below. Go share it with your friends. Go yell at Hi-Rez and tell them, hey, look at what this guy's doing. But anyway, I thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope this really does help you out. Good day.